I'm only jumping on for a couple of minutes, yeah, because I listened to what Roxanna had to say there. I'm being sensible tonight, right? So, as a guy, we just take whatever comes at us. We take it on the chin. We move on. Roxanne's right, yeah. If that had happened for what we've put out over the last couple of nights, if that had happened to a woman, if that had been reversed role and it had happened to, say, Emma Cockrell, there'd be hell to pay, yeah. So what us guys depend on is the good women out there to come out and say, you know what, that's not right, because if one rule stands for one, it must stand for another. Hence the reason I will maybe go in and certain women on YouTube or whatever, yeah, because at the end of the day, we all stand for equal rights. But when it comes to it, the guy doesn't have that. And I'm not saying we don't have it because we don't ask for it. So I think if it had been a reversed, Roxanne's right with what she said tonight, yeah. If it had been reversed and it was a woman, yeah, being antagonised into things, bear in mind, for what I've seen, take my personal feelings out the equation. For what I've seen is somebody try to antagonise the guy for a reaction. Yeah, they get the reaction, they then send it to friends to make themselves look a victim. If that had been the other way about, if you actually sent me something like that, I'd be saying to you, grow yourself a set of balls, go and get on with it. You with me?
Yeah.
Because we're guys. So it's got Roxanne's right, and I just wanted to jump on.
Guys are some of the most affected from domestic violence and mental health, and we'll never speak about it. One thing I done was, because of going through domestic violence, was work with the women's champions and stuff, and that was in the prisons, not outside. And what we said was, we couldn't understand why they were not there for men. And that's one thing we try to get in, because men will not speak out about it at all. And it is 1000%. If it was me on here and saying that, you know, a man was doing all of this stuff and whatnot, he would be getting, do you know what I mean? It would not be looked at and laughed at as it is, that it's a woman doing it to a man.
But Roxanne, you've got three guys sitting in a panel with you. None of us is going to actually admit that to you. But you're right. You are correct in what you're saying.
In fact, it's the reason I studied it into my mental health. Do you know what I mean? Men will not speak up about it whatsoever, and it's horrible when you look at it. And when you look at he's someone who's had a brother and he's lost a brother, and that's what he's got left. I would be protecting that person all my life, but why isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Is that because he's that vulnerable himself? And it's a true fact. If somebody, when they're grown up, bullied or go through so much, what better to do, right, than to stop yourself ever being bullied again? Get bigger, take rights, do whatever. Do you know what I mean? And if it's going to stop people bullying you or whatnot, make them feel better, maybe that was his way. But the truth, no matter how big you are, he's still vulnerable inside. And you can hear it when he speaks how special he is. Do you know what I mean? And she is abusing both of them.
Defense of Brian Cockrell, right? I'm not saying he's not been a bully. That's that's clear. Like kids have.
When you've been bullied, some people become a bully if you don't deal with that.
But he's been with Emma how many years? 7 years? 8
7.
years? 7 years, right? When Emma got with Brian, he was a big guy, yeah? And I'm quite sure any of us in this panel or in the chat would not have crossed a bad word with him. Now, wait a minute. She's appeared once with a black eye, okay? She preyed on, what do you call the woman? Jamie Boyle's wife, Shirley Boyle. Shirley felt sorry for her. She sent her money, yeah? Wait a minute. Brian was a big guy when Emma met him. And I mean a big guy. If he really wanted to hurt her properly, yeah, a black eye would be the least that she could show. You with me? It's like, listen, he did lift the car up in Newcastle and put it on the back end of the car. That's true, yeah. His IQ being 123, that's a load of shit. He's had his strength and lightning hand speeds, that's a load of shit. But he was a big guy when Emma Cockrell met him, yeah. If he wanted to cause her damage, he would have fucking broke her.
So you see, when Kev done a hose pipe on her, yeah, this woman had a black eye, right? So she must get these black eyes quite easily. I had someone domestic punch me, and I must say he was half the size of what that man was. My tooth was smashed out with my lip. I'd never been hit like that. If Brian had smashed down wanted to hit, he would have smashed her face.
What I'm getting at here, in defence of Brian Cockrell, yeah, he's got somebody there who antagonises him every single day. Every single. So if she's only got a black, let's say that black eye actually happened. If she's only got a black eye for all the antagonising she's done for 7 years, lucky her.
It's not correct. Never, ever, ever correct. But if that gentleman beside to him being someone who's been on the other end of it, he would have smashed her face.
He would have broke her. He would have cracked her skull. He'd have probably have murdered her. Just with his strength, he would have broke her. A black eye, from what we've seen over the last couple of... What I'm getting at is...
From everything coming out, I think that so far you can push somebody, and that man is being pushed as far as he can.
And antagonising you, recording you, and sending it to friends to try and get that group of friends to hate on your husband. She deserves... And I'm not going to apologise for ever saying that. She deserves everything she gets, and some. And
what you'll find with some women, you see she suffered domestic violence and this and other. You see some women, when they don't get over the cells of trauma, what they'll do is they'll push a person, right? It doesn't matter who they get with. What they'll do is they'll push them until that point of violence, because that's what they've experienced. And she
No,
is that type of
yes,
person and
yeah.
manipulative that would do that in that recording. I've been there when I've had a meltdown. And I must say, do you know what it is? I've been the one of domestic, but you see, when I've had a phone in my face and someone recording and going, this is in 3 minutes, send you batty, and I have went crazy. So do you know if he's raised a
Because
hand
he'll
or
probably
doesn't
have
it?
the right to
Because of her
record her
doing
proper
that,
domestic partner. Yeah,
I
he'll
get
probably
that.
have
And
that
that's
right.
somebody who deals with domestic. And I would say I
Yeah,
understand that she has pushed him to that point.
yeah, yeah.
My opinion's changed quite massively listening to what you're hearing. And it is
But
massively roles
you know
reversed.
what, Roxanne? Finding a woman that will come out and actually admit that is hard. Yeah,
I just speak the truth.
it's few and far between. Like, because everybody's out for fighting for women's rights and all the rest of it. But when it comes to guys' rights,
Nah.
we just like sit
Women
there.
are some of the most honestly intelligent, manipulative people in the are. And it is a male, and yes, and as someone who's been there, I could turn around after what I've gone through and say I hate men or this or that. No, no, not at all. Every person and every individual is the same. I give everyone the same respect until they do whatever. But a man, 100%, is more chance of being like a victim of domestic abuse and stuff like that because of everything that goes with it.
Well,
Everything else that goes with it.
what I've gathered from the last couple of videos we put out, the one you put out tonight, Ash, where what she's done, she's antagonised them for a reaction. When she's getting a reaction, she's pressed record. Yeah? You can't react without a reaction, yeah? So she's gave him something for him to get like that, knowing he's a bit short fused or whatever.
She
Right?
knew what she's
Well,
pushed him, knew what he was going to say, and she's pre-recorded, had that ready for what he was going to say. She knew.
And I'm not siding
She
up with
knew,
Brian
and
Cockrell.
that's an
I'm
intelligent
siding
woman.
up with
She hasn't got
every single
intelligence,
person.
but she's intelligent that way. She
I'm
has
siding up
had
with
nothing
every
in her
single
own
person
life.
this has happened to in life. She's
She's never had
antagonised
love.
her.
She's never
Yeah.
experienced love. All she's had is abuse. And all that woman will do to get satisfaction in her life now is abuse people. And that's
Right,
fact. And that's
but
all she'll do.
Roxanne, the problem we've got is a lot of people are sitting out there saying Brian Cockrell deserves that. He's bullied a lot of people, rightly
Of
so,
course he
right?
has.
That might be the case, but what we're getting at here is the fact that he's got a loving wife, allegedly, pushing them to get
Yeah.
a reaction, pressing record and sending it to their friends to mock the guy, yeah? To mock the person, to bring that bad person back out on everybody.
We can all judge. We can
She's
all judge
trying to
people,
show
right?
him.
Everybody out there can sit there. They can judge people for what they've done. Yes, what he's done's wrong. Nobody's saying what he's done's correct, right? But people can go out there and say there's people on the street. Nothing's correct. There's no reason. At the end of the day, every person does something because of something. There is a massive reason behind something. All right, he hasn't gone out there and done what he's done because of nothing. There's been a reason behind it.
Yeah, of course, that's a habit.
And judge, do you know what I mean? So people are always going to have a belief. What he's done, nobody's ever going to agree with it. What he's done, wrong, fair enough. But in him, he's done it for a reason. That's what it is. But that doesn't make what's going on now. Do you know what I mean? Correct? Nobody, it doesn't matter, deserves what she is doing
Nobody's
now.
agreeing that this is right.
No,
People
no.
that love us or hate us in our channels or the opposition. Nobody, as much as they're not admitting.
I honestly hope he does listen and he does say this, mate. To even hear that people think of, do you know what I mean, what we do about him, to say it. I hope he does say sense, mate. If that bloke has got any chance of surviving and actually having a life, he needs to get her gone. She needs gone.
Nobody here love us or hate us yet. I'm quite sure the people who hate on us or opposition or whatever you want to call it in YouTube wars, everybody will be sitting here agreeing. Whether we like each other or not, what is happening there is not right. It is not right. Whether we
It's
like
not.
I think if any of the people on there on either side have got any respect about themselves or anything, should just not even mention it.
You know, Brian's never actually hit her, you know.
I believe that, Kev. I do
It's
actually
never,
believe that.
she puts makeup on to make it look
It is like I said, you give her a wash and she had a black eye, all right, I know what smudge mascara is. I've been out, I've
Yeah,
come
but
back as a woman. I've woke up looking like Beetlejuice, all right, I know what mascara does, that's why I wear eyelashes.
I don't think Brian's ever
What I
hit her.
do believe, Kev, is Emma Cockrell is actually out to ruin her husband. For what reasons, I don't know. We'll maybe never know. But she's out
To
to
make
ruin him.
herself feel
Like
better,
did
she
with
is out
Mandy
to ruin
Jameson's
anyone.
brother and everybody before Mandy Jameson's brother Joe. She's out to ruin Brian Cockrell. She's ruined his channel. She's ruined what he did. Like, if she's antagonised him, she's planted seeds. You hear him crack. He's obviously no daft. He knows about affairs she's been having. And you know, if it had been Brian Cockrell doing that to Emma Cockrell, everybody would be in an uproar. Oh, wait a minute.
Massive. It wouldn't have even went on this long if it had been the other way around.
No.
No, it wouldn't be correct. Correct, Roxanne, it wouldn't.
Not this public.
No. They'd be up in arms. So everybody
It's beyond damaging to that man.
I have never claimed to be out here protecting women and children. Never once had that status. Ever. Ever. Yeah? Because if I'd be a hypocrite right now defending Brian Cockrell, if that was the case.
I'm just a firm believer of what if I do what's right, do you know what I mean?
Victimised out there with his very own wife that he made vows with in a church. That's a fact.
I do believe in the truth. I've always said that in fact, and I sit there and I don't know. I've got a heart no matter what, do you know what I mean? I think it's no matter what anyone's done, I can't sit back and look at something and think someone deserves that or that's right or that's this. I say right from wrong. Right and wrong is what I go by, do you know what I mean? With what I am, and There is no right in what she's doing at all, and it would not have went on this long if it was somewhere else. Like the other way around, it would have been stopped a very long time ago.
What
It's
I'm
beyond
very
damaging.
intrigued with right now,
Beyond
Roxanna, is
damaging.
the fact that Paddy Conroy put out a statement a long time ago, and that was Emma Cockrell should be looked after. There was no mention of Brian Cockrell at that point. And saying that, I think Paddy's kind of swung round, and he is genuinely concerned about Brian Cockrell's health. I do believe he's actually genuinely concerned about how he's feeling. I do believe Paddy's been told a load of shit about how Brian might be on that day. But, you know, Paddy's got his
I
own
don't think that man's got out about him, but if he has, I think he would go and check on his pal.
Paddy's to live in, his own little lies to believe, and his own little lies to spread. But I think there's two peas in a pod here. Unless Paddy and Emma split away from each other, I think there's two peas in a pod. I think they belong with each other. I think they should get married.
She likes to be used off men, do you know what I mean? And you've got to look at his behaviour with women as well. He uses women, he abuses women, he's very nasty towards women. If he can control a woman, she's easy to him, do you know what I mean? So really, she's put you in his hands, isn't she? Because she wants to be controlled and enjoys control. She enjoys that part of life.
Yeah, they did manage, both of them managed to build a new life. Whatever threats
Well
came
done
with
to them
that,
women.
I'm not sure.
No wonder the bloke's been away that long, he can't even say dementia.
You think with somebody with like Paddy's status would have enough pull?
Yeah, listen, you've got an accent. Listen, nobody, you've got an accent. Say dementia for me.
Well, here, man. I'm surely Paddy would have enough pull to find out if somebody was alive or dead. And he still cannot, to this day, tell you if Scotty G is actually alive. Well, Paddy, Scotty G is alive. Yeah, I'm not from Newcastle, but I've been in Newcastle more in the last 33 months than you have in 30 years. Scotty G is still alive, Paddy. I'm sorry to tell you, your two lives you've done about Scotty G being dead is a load of pish.
John, while you're on, what did you think about his apology last night?
Mate, come on. You really think a man who's absolutely obsessed with a certain crime family in Newcastle was going to come out and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to help you? Of course he wasn't. He's too obsessed. The only problem I've got is he's either wanking to John Henry Sayers, turning the left, or turning the right, because John Henry Sayers in one bedside cabinet, me in the other. I wish Stephen Sayers would go out of fucking jail so I can put him back in the cabinet so I can get back to the bottom of the bed.
I watched the lie detector today. I was quite impressed with the procedure they were doing it. Stephen Sayers, I watched it this morning, and the procedure to go through and the questioning and that, and then I sat there.
Yeah.
I sat there and I thought, where's Paddy's?
Yeah.
I've actually got the answer why the footage isn't there. And the answer is because it was taken that long ago. When Paddy asked for the footage, Terry Mullins didn't actually hold the footage that long. Is what Paddy required it for.
Yeah, but wouldn't it get stored in an archive?
Yeah, basically, but Terry Mullins didn't actually save it because Paddy at the time told Terry Mullins that he didn't want it saved onto, like, I don't know, like a hard drive or whatever. At the time, Paddy Conroy told Terry Mullins that he didn't want it saved. There was no fucking need. Blah blah blah. That's when Terry said, you know, he came across as very arrogant. That was because
but Stephen must have done his lie detector first because of Terry Mullins said Terry Mullins said in it, I don't watch Paddy's podcasts.
That's not true. No, Paddy did his first. Paddy didn't. But Paddy wanted to do 3 or 4 or something. I can't remember. And Terry said, "Can only do one at a time." So Paddy said that he done one, knowing fine that he was telling the truth to test Terry Mullins because he didn't trust lie detector tests. So in the first one, when he covered murders, except Paddy wasn't lying. He's never been questioned or accused of any murders that he comes on the YouTube every night for the last 5 years claiming. He's never been mentioned in Operation Insight ever. I can send you a whole dossier to you if you want to read it. The Conroy family was mentioned, yes, but Paddy's name wasn't. This was at the time when Paddy was disowned by his brothers, i.e. Mick Conroy, etc. Mick was a real deal. Yeah, so Paddy was disowned at this point. So the Conroys are mentioned in Operation Insight, but Paddy's name, Mick's name's mentioned, blah, 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 but Paddy's name is not mentioned. That's a fact. Right, okay, we'll put this into some perspective, yeah? If you were to put Stephen Sayers there or John Henry Sayers, who would you want to come on the internet and actually speak? John Henry or Stephen?
Stephen?
No. You're not listening to what I said there. If you wanted somebody to come on the internet and actually tell you his story, who would you want to hear? Stevens or John Henry Sayers?
It'd be John's to do with Paddy, but I will find.
So would you?
I would want to listen to Stephen, but each to their own, innit?
Yeah, that's fine. But we've heard Stevens. So if Mick Conroy was to come on the stage tomorrow, who would you listen to? Mick Conroy or Paddy Conroy?
Mick.
Thank you. That's
because I would have never heard him speak out before.
What I'm getting at is you're never going to hear Mick's story. You're never going to hear John Henry.
Yeah, because real gangsters and real criminals don't come onto YouTube and sprout the business.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to hear Mick Conroy's story. Nobody. You know why? Because you don't tell the grass, because the trees don't need to know.